Think of it as you've just found a new piece of land on Earth. You've just found a new opportunity has just emerged because there have been two levers that have been shifting and moving around to create this opportunity. At one end, there are two levers that are moving very fast that's propelling that industry. One lever is that satellites have gotten miniaturized and they've gotten a lot smaller. They've gotten a lot easier to make. Like Dr. Giri mentioned, back in the days, only the governments and the defense universities were able to do that. Now you've got young, entrepreneurs coming out of colleges who sort of going and building these satellites out, right? It just means that, of course, people have gotten smarter and things have gotten a little more standardized. The second thing that's also propelling is the fact that the cost of launch has significantly come down. So now all of a sudden you've got ability to launch, you've got ability to build something and go and send something to space, which on a normal day 5 years ago was a non-starter. So now you have information which you've never had before, and suddenly you have this information at a price which is significantly affordable, at least for certain categories of business. Which essentially means there's a new, think of it as you've just found a new piece of land on Earth. You've just found a new opportunity has just emerged because there have been two levers that have been shifting and moving around to create this opportunity. Right? And we sort of were very fortunate that we met a few entrepreneurs early on that were talking about different components of these, and we were able to sort of get a bird's eye view of what is going on. So we've taken a few investments. We found some excellent founders to sort of partner with to build some of these companies. One is a company called Agnikul. Agnikul operates in the launch side, where they're essentially working with the thesis that, hey, if you're a small satellite and you want to go line up to launch in SpaceX, there's a huge wait time of up to 18 months by published reports. And here we are to sort of build a very dedicated launch vehicle to get you to space, real time, from when you want to go. No, of course, they were not the only ones to do that, but what was very different about them is they sort of combined combustion technology with sort of miniaturization and 3D printing that allows them to 3D print their full rocket engines, which essentially shrinks the time to manufacture from a few months to a few days. So that's one company. The second company we picked in, as we started understanding satellites and as we started understanding rockets, we figured that the optics part of the satellite, satellites sometimes can be like like an elephant. You buy the elephant, but you got to feed it. In other words, the satellite basically sends you a lot of the data downstream, like what Abhilash mentioned. You got to pay for that data, right? And today, a lot of that communication works on what's called an RF protocol or a radio frequency protocol. And that's like, think of it as the dial-up internet, right? You got to pay $10 per GB. The max speed is about 10 Mbps, and you've got the satellite that's sending tons and tons of data. So we found a pretty interesting team that spun out of X, Team Indus. They're sort of working on using photonics, which essentially means they're using light as a mechanism for communicating. And they built some very indigenous products that could be used for both terrestrial communication and ground to space and space to space communication. So that's another company that we partnered with. Third is a company called Kava Space. Kava Space operates on the downstream side. A sort of similar bucket as some of the companies that Abhilash mentioned. I think what sort of puts them very unique is they essentially give business outcomes to companies and just giving them space data. So we think of them as a space intelligence company. If you're a large bank that has the agri lending department, then based on lat long of the land that's coming in, you're able to take a quick call on credit. You don't have to care about what that land looks like or where it is or whether there's water in it or not, but you just get your basic business outcome decisions out of it. So that's the other company out there, right? So that's our view on the space sector. I think there's an equally exciting time happening on the aerospace side as well, which is that there is a push towards saying, hey, can there be more cleaner ways of aviation? Of course, there's a lot of work that's been going on in cleaner kinds of fuels or alternate fuels. And we're big believers that one, for starts, wherever lithium is today, there are some opportunities there. But we think the boundaries for material sciences and battery innovation are sort of limitless from where we are. And we think there could be some very interesting companies that are building products for aviation. We, for one, have been very fortunate to work with this team called the E-Plane Company, and they're building, 2 to 4 seater planes that sort of work on alternate battery chemistries for for short haul travel, and short haul sort of defined as sub 200 kilometers.